On the day of the interview, don't go in showing any better. Again, on day number 1, when you go into the office, you'll be able to find out from the people who are there what's acceptable in my office. What is it that's allowed? Remember this, a lot of companies have varying policies about what and where they want their employees to wear. In my Business 129 class, professional development, one of the things we talk about is the fact that you could go to work for a company which actually has a couple of different sets of dress code rules. Let's say that you're on the front line dealing directly with the customers. In that circumstance, the boss may say, listen, here's what I want you to look like. It's a conservative look. On the other hand, if you're not dealing directly with the customers, or you're working in a place where you already know whatever it is that you're going to be doing is going to be limited as to the people from outside with whom you're going to be dealing, then maybe the company has a different set of rules. The best guideline is on day number 1, take a look and decide, what is everyone else doing? The first week of your new job is not the time to make a fashion statement. You want to get in on day number 1, and you want to see what everybody else is doing at the same time. So while you're thinking about what it is that you might be wearing, I'm telling you, cover up your tats, don't bring your piercings at the same time. And what you really want to do is make sure that whatever the culture of the company is, that's the thing that you're really doing. That's what you want to have. So I'm getting in there to get ready for my interview. Now I need to know what are the kind of things, what is it that I want to do, and what do I bring? What do I bring? Well, first of all, you're going to walk in there looking sharp. You want to be ready, and you want to make sure that the person sitting across the table from you has the best possible view of you as a person. On the other hand, you're going to have some things that you want to bring with you. The best way to do this is come in, gentlemen, you should have some sort of a folder. Okay, now I have one from my undergraduate school, so I've got a nice leather case right here, and when I walk in, I have my case, and I have 2 things for sure, 3 things possible. 1 thing to bring, 2 extra copies of your resume. Bring 2 extra copies of your resume. Because if you're in the interview, and the interviewer says, you know, I'm not sure that this is the best job for you, but I know that there's an opening in another department, and I'd like to make sure that Joe Jones, who's the manager over there, gets to see you. Then you open your case and you say, well, Mr. Smith, I have an extra copy of my resume right here. So now Smith doesn't have to look for it, doesn't have to make another copy of it. You've given him one right there. The reason that you carry the second copy is as the person is going through, you don't want to forget anything good that you have done. So you want to have a second copy of your resume in your file folder so that if some subject comes up, you don't want to get rattled and nervous and leave out the fact that you were awarded the Employee of the Year award. You don't want to leave out the fact if they start talking about the subject that you weren't sure was going to come up, that in fact you have some experience here. And maybe the interviewer hasn't caught that on your resume. So bring a folder like this, and inside that folder, you're going to want to have 2 copies of your resume. One for you to read, and a spare one to be able to give out to someone else. So what am I going to do with this thing? Now I've got my resume. I brought that with me. I found a package to put it in, a nice binder like this. Now, you can decide how much money you want to invest in this. I frequently get asked by students in my 129 class talking about what to do. They say, well, you know, I don't know, Mr. Calvin, I don't really have a suit like that. The answer is fine. Do the best you can, but remember this, you have to spend money to make money. If you are interested in a job that pays the minimum wage, go dressed as a minimum wage person. But as most of you who are in here, because you come to the Business Expo, if all of you are in here are saying, you know, I don't want to make the minimum wage person, I want to do something else. I can better myself doing that. You're going to have to spend a little money early on. Now, you don't necessarily have to go and buy, leather binders like this. For example, and I'll tell you right now, this is an advertisement that you're going to hear. $6.99, the Hartnell College Bookstore. And by the way, you might as well tell them that you're a graduate of Hartnell College as well. So, $7, you can get a very serviceable one. I'm telling you this, put this aside. Don't use it for anything else if you haven't read. Do not use it for anything else except your job interviews. But you can start at $7 and get something at the same time. I gotta tell you, when I walk into a meeting and my logo says Northeastern University, Boston, Massachusetts, it's the opportunity to have some kind of a conversation with the person who's on the other side of the table. And when you are in the interview, you want conversation. You want to have some reason to talk to that person and for that person to talk to you. So you're going to have to spend a little money, but packaging makes a difference. Who am I? You're going to be bringing your resumes and you're going to have to know your resume cold. Many of you will be writing a resume when you leave Hartnell College for the first time. That's why you want a second copy in there, because you want to make sure that you do not make a mistake and leave something out of your resume that's important. You want to make sure that you know the material. Now, you know who you are, but the person sitting across the table doesn't. And for those of you who have not yet taken, and this is another unashamed advertisement, Business 177, spring semester, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m., CAP 267, proofreading and editing, Mr. Calvert. One of the things we focus on in that class is working on vocabulary. When you are in there, you want to make sure that you are using A, the best vocabulary that you can, because you're making an impression on someone, and B, vocabulary and style of speaking that's appropriate for the job you've got. Now, those of you who are my 131 students know we've had this discussion before. There are different levels of English. However, it's not that one is good and one is not good. It's that one is more appropriate at one time than another. So, you're hanging with your buds in the cafeteria in between classes and you're just shooting the breeze, you're going to use conversational English filled with slang. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly appropriate. That's what you should be using. However, if you're in the office looking for a job as a professional person, wouldn't you think that you'd want to use standard business English and vocabulary that matches that at the same time? So sign up for 177 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. Mr. Coward. So, I know that's not going to go backwards. This one is on how you're presenting yourself. Here is the first thing to know. When you walk in that room, you are going to shake hands with someone. I am telling you this, if you walk in with the cold fish handshake, that's what that person will think about it. You want to give a good business grip handshake. Now, if you have not taken Business 190 with Ms. Mendelson, I hardly suggest the last class you take. It's on professional development and they work on interviewing and writing resumes during that